Just when you thought your life couldn't possibly get any better, I got some news for you. You just stumbled onto the C1 Crew setup video. Man, even I'm jealous of you. In the box, you're going to find the Huddly C1, a one-directional USB-C cable for BYOD connection, the wall mount with mounting template, HDMI cable, power adapter with power cable, and 2 Huddly Crew add-on cameras, each with a wall mount and Ethernet cable. You also need an externally sourced PoE network switch and a third Ethernet cable to connect the switch to the C1. And if you're connecting the C1 Crew to the room compute, you'll also need an externally sourced standard USB cable. Before setting up the C1 Crew, you need to quickly update the C1. Download and install Huddly Connect from either the App Store or the Microsoft Store. Then plug in the power cable and connect the C1 to your laptop by connecting the end of the one-directional USB-C cable included in the box with an A on it into the port on the C1 labeled USB-C A. Open the Huddly Connect app, click on Settings, go to Camera Info, and click on Update. After the update is installed, switch on Huddly Director, and now you're ready to set up the C1 Crew. In the C1 Crew setup, the Huddly C1 will always serve as the center camera, while the crew cameras serve as the side cameras. The C1 should be mounted as close to seated eye level as possible, and always be sure to leave at least 1 centimeter of space above the video bar to assure optimal microphone performance. Then either mount it on the wall under the screen using the wall mount, or just place it at the front center of the room as close to eye height as possible. For alternative mounting options, ask your reseller about mounting options from Heckler. For the C1 Crew setup, the side cameras are always going to be mounted along the same wall as the screen and angled across the room. The most important rule of thumb is that each camera's field of view captures all the participants on the opposite side of the room. This is to avoid any blind spots in the room and for the AI to function optimally. Mount the side cameras at eye level and make sure they're at least 40 centimeters away from the wall for proper speaker detection. Once you have determined their placement, mount the crew cameras using a wall mount or floor stand. Now, this is just a friendly reminder, okay? There is 0 configuration, and the setup is way simpler than you would think. You just point the cameras, and the AI does the rest, because the AI is trained on people and not scenarios. People think it's scenarios. It isn't. Once the cameras are mounted, center the camera on the opposite side of the table by panning and tilting the mounted camera both horizontally and vertically. And make sure everyone on that side of the table is clearly visible and not obstructed by other participants closer to the camera. Then connect each crew camera to the network switch, and finally connect the C1 Extend port to the network switch. There are 2 ways to connect the C1, either directly to the room compute or to your laptop if you're in a bring your own device scenario. I mean, have you ever had this much fun setting up a multi-camera system? I haven't. If you're using a room system, plug in the power cable and then plug in the externally sourced USB cable into the port on the C1 labeled USB-C. Then plug the other end into your room system. If you're in a bring your own device scenario, plug in the power cable and then connect the end of the USB-C cable included in the box with an A on it into the port on the C1 labeled USB-C A. And then plug in your HDMI cable into the HDMI out port of the C1. Then plug the other end of the HDMI cable into your screen. Finally, connect the other end of the USB-C cable to the device you brought. Now that the C1 Crew is set up, just start a call and make sure all participants are clearly visible. And just like that, you've set up the C1 Crew, which means from now on, when people ask you the question, are you doing anything revolutionary at work? You can confidently respond 100% yes, and show them the C1 Crew.